So how is everybody looking and feeling today? Kariuki, you're in Kenya too? Mr. Kariuki?
Yes.
Okay. And Nairobi, I'm assuming?
I'm in Mombasa, Kilifi coast.
Oh, you're near Mr. Dzombo?
Yes,
Yes.
he's my neighbor.
Oh, okay. Let me share this link so we can start.
Okay.
So the Vipingo is in Malindi or Kilifi?
Vipingo is in Kilifi County, and Kilifi County is big. So we are in the Vipingo part of Kilifi. Malindi is still in Kilifi County.
Okay. I used to live in Mombasa. How come I don't know this? Kilifi is in, Malindi is in Kilifi.
Yes.
Malindi is a big county with 7 constituencies. Vipingo is in Kilifi South sub-county, next to Mtwapa, next to Shanzu. That's your Mombasa.
Okay. Is part of Mombasa County too?
No, it's bordering Mombasa. Kilifi sub-county is bordering Mombasa.
Oh, so those are 2 different entities.
Kilifi County and Mombasa County.
Okay. Wow. I'm also a Mombasa-ite.
Mombasa.
Yeah, I used to actually grew up in Mombasa.
Which part of it?
Right there by Shimolatewa.
Me, I'm a Soba. I'm from Shimolatewa.
You're a Soba?
Yes.
Oh, I'm a Soba too.
Now you see.
Wow, what are the chances? So I need you to reduce your headroom just a little bit, so your head can be, the other way, like more higher.
This way?
Yeah, there, perfect. Yeah.
Me, I'm from Kongoya, Mombasa.
Congo where?
I went to Kongoya Primary School, Angele Nursery School. I went to Shimalatewa.
Yeah. Wow. So you probably be my classmate.
Which year? 1989, the first lot.
Is it the Form 6 or the 844?
844 first lot. That was our group.
Wow, it's a small world.
Very.
Engineer, when you mention years, you scare some of us.
Why?
We imagine where you are.
That's right.
Yes.
I met someone today from Shimalatewa. When I told him I was there in 1989, he told me he was there in 1972.
See, now you're even now they're also scaring you.
Yeah. To them, I'm still like I'm Fijana.
This is since the day of independence.
Yes. 72, the guy was already in Form 4 there.
That is absolutely crazy.
Now they're also scaring you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna mute this so it doesn't interfere with this. Then I'm gonna go live. Yes, and give myself some more headroom. Yeah. I'd like you to just increase your headroom just a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Ukija juu kidogo inanisaidia sana. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. So how is everybody doing again? Welcome to Radio Majuu, the voice of the diaspora, and where we go beyond diaspora.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes, you're most welcome, Zilani.
Thank you for the invitation. My first time on Radio Majuu, and I'm proud that I've met another sober in it. Thank you.
Yes, we'll talk about sober real soon and see how we can help. We can help our alumni.
Yes, very strong.
Very strong alumni. Wow. So we're streaming. Actually, right now we're streaming. So let's just get right to it.
George, I guess I gotta stay this way to distinguish my hair from the background, but is this looking a little weird?
You are fine, actually. You know, we can see some highlights when you move, but if you minimize the moving, it should be fine.
I'm trying to see, because if I lean back, then becomes the background and it moves a lot.
Are you comfortable right there where you are?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay. What if you lean forward?
This is where I feel like it's not moving as much.
Yeah, perfect right there. And then we have your full scale.
Okay, but I'm also not very comfortable, so I can stay like this.
All right, just get comfortable.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a quick intro, and then we can do our opening remarks. Try to keep them under 3 minutes, maybe just a minute, so we can move. All right, welcome to Radio Majuu one more time. I'm your host, George Gichobi, aka Master G. If you're on Radio Majuu, where we go beyond diaspora, and today we have in the building some guests who are going to talk about how we build bridges from diaspora all the way to the motherland, Africa, and down to the coast of Mombasa and into Malindi. My guests today are Martin Kariuki, who is the general manager of Vipingo Development, PLC, June Zilani, an advocate and program planner for OVC, and engineer Alphonse Dzombo Mbaru, founder and CEO of Madin Group and Food Consortium. Food Security Consortium, FSC. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. I'd like to welcome you one at a time. I'll start with Mr. Martin. Just a brief introduction and tell us why we have the pleasure of having you here.
Thank you, George, and thank you to our listeners and viewers. Martin Kariuki, the General Manager for Vipingo Development, PLC. We are here to discuss real estate investment back home and how to create wealth that can span across generations. We'll be happy to engage in the next 1 hour that we'll have the opportunity, and we look forward to giving you very good information that can be of use to your residential and other real estate investment needs. Thank you.
Very good. And I'm going to go to June Zelani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yep, my name is June Zelani Wambua. I'm born and raised in Kenya. Kamba, to be more specific. Well, Kamba and Kikuyu, but Kamba is where I trace my roots. I am happy for the privilege to be here today. I live in the DC area currently, and my profession really is in law. I'm an attorney by practice and a planner for OVC.
Welcome to the show. And last but not least, I have engineer Alphonse Dzombo, who is all the way in the coast of Kenya. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, George. My name's engineer Alphonse Dzombo. I'm a mechanical engineer with a bias to oil and gas, but I'm also the operations and technical director of OVC and FSC in Kenya. I'm happy to be here to share matters investments, between Kenya and the diaspora, and basically connecting the diaspora to what we have, like what Martin has just said. It matters real estate, it matters agro-processing, and so many other things that matter to our country generally. And for me and for FSC, our focus is mainly on matters food and water security. Thank you.
Perfect. Welcome one more time to Radio Majuu, where we go beyond diaspora. And right at this time, we're going all the way to the coast of Kenya. And I have my two guests here, Martin Kariuki, who is also in the coast of Kenya, and he's in real estate and investment. And they have a very good investment program going on in Vipingo. So Martin, welcome to the show. What advice would you give diaspora investors who want to get into the real estate space back home?
Thank you, George.
Like a novice investor who is just starting out and is thinking, what are kind of opportunities can I get into, like, in real estate?
Thank you, George. It is very straightforward for someone who is looking to invest back home. Investing back home is not complicated. You just need to follow some guidelines, and I'd like to share with our listeners just a few, just to simplify the whole process. Number one, just keep it simple. Start small, then scale it over time. Because if you start too big, you get discouraged along the way. Number two, verify. We are used to a lot of diasporians buying thin air. So it's good to use a trusted source or a trusted person to make sure that whatever property you're buying, it actually exists and the documents are there. Number three, we all know the challenges we are facing in Africa. Zoning challenges. So when you're investing back home, try as much as possible to buy into structured real estate. Structured real estate is what we call master planned development. So that if you're buying a plot today, you have an idea of what will come across the road. You have an idea what will come behind you, so that you make a decision with a full future picture in your mind. So what we do is, as Vipingo Development, which is a subsidiary of Centum Real Estate, this is the gap we are plugging in Kenya, and we have also started going out. We are in Uganda, just to create well master planned developments that can offer our people decent investment and decent homes and livelihoods. Thank you.
Perfect. And I know you have nearby the engineer, but what about other professionals, engineers, lawyers, like June here? Do they feature in the project management at Vipingo, or it's just local professionals?
We work with professionals both locally and diaspora. So the good thing with the diaspora professionals, they're able to bring in global skills into our developments. what we encourage the diaspora professionals is to have entities that are registered in Kenya, so that it is very easy to bid for some of the work we do. We usually maintain a panel. So the first step is to make sure we get you into a panel through an entity that you can register as a subsidiary of if you have another entity in diaspora. Now, through these, whenever we have tenders, we invite only those that are in our panel. I'd like to give an example. One of our best selling residential projects at Two Rivers in Nairobi has been designed by a team of diasporians. So we invited tenders, and they submitted the most creative, most modern, and most relevant concept to what we are looking at. So yeah, we are open to work with all the professionals where we feel the global professionals or the professionals in diaspora are able to bring in a special set of skill set that is ahead of its time when you look at the East African market, courtesy of the exposure in the first world countries.
Nice, that's very good. So they have designed apartments like the way they have the ones that have been built in the Western countries to like top-notch standards. So if I come there, I will not be disappointed.
Absolutely. So to make it work, because not everything that is Westernized will work in the East African context, what most professionals who are based in diaspora do is they give the general concept of what they feel will be sustainable in terms of clean energy, in terms of good lighting into the house, such things that are very well embraced in diasporian communities. Then they work in hand with a local design or a local profession to bring in now the local context to the larger idea. So that's how now the two blend. So there is the main protagonist of the design or whatever the specific skill set is. Then there's a local same skill set partner who helps now to tone down, because what works in Dubai, for example, in terms of sustainability is okay, but maybe in terms of how you position the toilet relative to the sitting room could be a bit different. So the localization of the context, they work closely with a local partner. Now the local partner is more like working under the main diaspora professional. So there's not a competition, it's more of a collaboration.
There's a symbiosis, so everybody brings their skills to the table. All right, so I mean that looks like it can be a very good product that will emerge from there, and I congratulate you on such a strategy. So what are the opportunities you've just mentioned? Like designers and professionals can participate in a symbiosis. So what are the opportunities partners in the diaspora?
So I'll break down the opportunities into two categories. There is the opportunities for professionals. There is opportunities for general population in diaspora. So for the professionals, we look at the design, and the design cuts across. There is the architecture, there is the structural engineering, there is the infrastructure engineering, there is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We call that MEP engineering. Now, that is as far as the real estate scope of consultancy is concerned. On the side of the general population of diasporians, outside of now the professions, we have investment opportunities. So if you are a diaspora, the investment opportunities we have for you, we know that you are away. So even if you're buying to get a return, without a good system of doing what we call the property management, which basically comes after we give you the property. If it's a house or if it's a plot that you want to build, we put together a team. If you're buying a house, we put together a property management team. This is a team that will make sure they will source for a tenant. Of course, they will earn a commission, so they'll be motivated to do it. They will manage the tenancy. You'll give them a bank account where they can wire the money. If it's a piece of land you're buying from our structured master plan development, we'll give you a panel of trusted team to work with, from a contractor to consultants to everyone that you need to make sure that you're able to deliver on your project. Now, if the diasporian people wants to create an impact in Kenya, as far as the opportunity is concerned, we usually encourage collaboration. You come together as a group, form a very good purpose vehicle like a company, so that whatever you do it at scale. If I'm looking at a retirement home and you are 20 of us, you can come and say, can we get a special village court specifically for ourselves? And we design it the way we want. There, the diasporians can take a very huge opportunity and create a good impact, not only for themselves, but also for the country.
That's very good. So really quick, what are some of the red flags that diaspora buyers? I know not everybody wants to invest in Kenya per se, but for the people who want to invest in Kenya, they fear, losing the money or losing the investments, or they're being told, we're building a house for you. And as soon as they touch down, they find out maybe it's half bills, maybe it doesn't even exist, or maybe the money has just disappeared. What are the 3 red flags, real quick, that somebody who's interested in purchasing land in Kenya can look out for?
Yeah, that has happened, and I am quite familiar with quite a number of diasporians who are really frustrated when they try to invest in real estate back at home. So the 3 main things that every diaspora should look for in terms of the red flags is, number 1 is the ownership document. The property you're buying, is there a title deed? Is there a sublease? What form of ownership is there? Is it something that you can take to a financier to charge and get a loan for it? Number 2 is lack of development plan, what I called the zoning, because it means you might want to buy a piece of land and you want to do a very nice mansionette for yourself and your family. And because the area you're buying into is not zoned, the next neighbor will come and put a 20-story tower. So you might never enjoy the property you're buying into. So it's good to check whatever you're buying, what is the zoning that is governing a particular area. The number 3, which is also very common, is that when you're buying real estate, I always advise people, both the local here in Kenya and diasporians, buying real estate is different from buying a piece of bread. You can go to the supermarket and come out with the bread you want. But real estate, you don't buy it like a bread. So whenever you're trying to buy a piece of property and whoever is selling it to you is giving you a lot of pressure, that is a red flag in itself, because we believe that real estate is a matter of us educating you, the opportunities available. You go, internalize, discuss with your family. Sometimes you might take a month, 2 months, even years to make a decision. So whenever you feel that you're being put under pressure or you're being told the property is running out, be very careful, because buying real estate is internal. You leave it for your generation. And that's why we usually encourage diasporians, don't gamble, because once you buy, if it's not a good piece of real estate, you'll struggle with it and your generation will struggle. For us, as the Vipingo Development and Center as a whole, if you're coming to buy a property, you have some level of comfort. One, you find the zoning, the master plan is already there. The title, if you want to see the mother title, the individual titles of whatever you're buying within the larger master plan is there. And you have documented sales process. So be on the lookout. Lack of ownership documents, lack of development plan, zoning, what I call a high pressure sales is the third red flag. Thank you.
I think that is the biggest red flag right there, because from my little understanding about the real estate in Kenya, there's a lot of speculation. So I'm being told hii inaenda, unaona sahii iko 2.5, usiponunua sahii next month utapata ni 5 million. So you know, you're even being encouraged that you're gonna make double your money, so buy now, you know, that kind of pressure. So pressure is not actually a good thing.
It is not. Absolutely.
All right, we learned something today from a professional, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we're building opportunities in East Africa. Obviously, we come from Kenya, but obviously Africa is a very big continent. So we're actually looking at a microcosm just to show you that the opportunities that are there, if this exists in our small coastal town of Malindi, then you can imagine if we scale it to the other counties, the provinces, I guess there are no provinces anymore. It's the counties, right? That's the devolution. Yes, yeah. And then to other countries, to East Africa. I know we're having a little tiff back and forth with our neighbors in East Africa, but we're still one block, East Africa, then Central Africa, South Africa. So the potential to blossom or even to boom is really immense, and I'm glad that you're here. So I can ask you a lot of questions, Mr. Martin, especially about your Vipingo development. That's why we have scheduled a webinar on the 31st of May that will also be in collaboration with OVC. We encourage everybody to join. We'll post the info here on Radio Majuu, so people can join in, find out what are the opportunities that are there. If you're a professional, also you're welcome to join in and find out what kind of opportunities or roles that you can play. And also, if you're an investor, you can also check on the red flags and the procedures. You know, I don't want to be buying a property. I know there's a friend of mine that I know, he bought a property, and then the next thing, it was demolished because it was a road reserve, so he lost everything. You know, so that's not a good experience. Alrighty, moving along, I'm going to jump over to the ladies. Today we didn't do ladies first, but rest assured, we are very, very gender sensitive, and we advocate for our ladies too and our youth. June Zelan is here. She works in the Diaspora, and as much as Diaspora want to help and participate in Kenya, what can they do to avoid being seen as outsiders? You know, when you go to Kenya, sometimes I don't even want to say I'm from Diaspora. I want to be treated as a local, because when you say you're from Diaspora, something changes. Now you're in a different category, and people tend to act differently.
Well, yeah, George, there is that diaspora sense where we always feel like we're outside. I don't know whether it's by doing or it's just by design. However, I do think that the response to this would be how we show up as a diaspora. And that's, for me, I would say that we should show up with humility as opposed to a savior complex. Sometimes I feel like diaspora professionals always have this, you know, air or flow of, you know, we have access to knowledge, or we live outside of what's quote unquote seen as chaos. And we have these networks and capitals and all these things. And we enter these spaces assuming that we have all the answers. We have all the answers, as opposed to we don't know too much because we've also been gone for too long, or we're just not, we're a little bit removed. And so instead of us assuming that we're the savior, we should enter these spaces thinking that We want to replicate what we know. We want to teach and give back what we know, so that we can avoid the same imbalances that we've fought so long to fix. You know, for instance, when the imperialists came in to Africa as a whole, they came in with this mentality that we are better than, or we're entering a space where we are the ones to determine what goes on there, as opposed to sitting back, listening, you know, interact with who's down there. See what they've done already. See what's been happening so far. How did they get it done? How can they improve? What have they been already working on? And the biggest thing is, where can we plug in? Where can we be of help, as opposed to the approach of coming to take over? Who are the centers that we're working with? Who are the community voices that we need to integrate with? Who are the people, for instance, like Vipingo or, you know, the people represented here? How can we collaborate with them, as opposed to it being a them versus us sort of mentality? And I do think that diaspora professionals should learn, or we are learning, to co-create and bridge the gaps, as opposed to just coming here to save and coming here to show. And our engagements should be lifting and should be partnerships, as opposed to performance-based.
Oh, well, perfect. What are the greatest gaps in access, and how can diaspora engagement help?
Yeah, so the greatest gaps that I can just really think of right now is just the access to tools, to training, to networks. You know, for a long time, we really thought that the gap was money. Sit down, ask anybody. We always feel like the biggest gap really is just money. But that truly, to me, doesn't seem to be it. And we've tested that theory in the fact that we've sent remittances at home. You know, the rate at which we send money back home is quite high. So we've tested that theory to know that really, truly, the gap really isn't money per se as the only thing, but it's the way we should access three things: the tools, the trainings, and the networks. We have people there. We have talented individuals in Kenya just lacking a network or an opportunity to showcase what they can bring to the table. And so really, you can shower them with money all you want, but if you're not giving them an opportunity for them to say, hey, I have a solution to this, or hey, you know, this can be done a different way, then we will never know how to bridge these gaps. And on top of that, we can fund more. Well, I did talk about money, but we can also fund more, you know, digital labs or curriculums that support innovation, or provide more mentorship or talent pipelines, whereby, you know, we can start giving back these opportunities that we've gotten, especially like education-wise, knowledge-wise. We can start replicating them back home in a way that it's not to interfere with what's going on, but really to reimagine what we learned or what we've gathered from here, how we excuse me, how we can, you know, put an infrastructure back home around what we're trying to work with, as opposed to, you know, just sending money and letting it go to waste, or letting all the potential go to waste because we've been sending money and we send a lot of money. There are too many other things that we can do.
Me, I've sent so much money. I'm also regretting why I didn't meet Mr. Kariuki sooner. Maybe I would have had myself a beach plot by now. Ikuwe napigwa na upepo wa bahari, as they say it in the song. But it's all good. At least now the information is trickling in, and obviously we can take advantage of it. So yeah. I'm sure you're, or I know for a fact that you're passionate about advocacy. And
I am.
Yeah, now we're talking about entrepreneurship or real estate, where you can engage in business and invest your hard-earned money. So how do these two things go together, advocacy and entrepreneurship?
I think that's a really brilliant question, right? Advocacy and entrepreneurship should go hand in hand. They're not in two separate lanes like we've always thought of, but they are, to me. They walk in the same lane, just the way we interpret it is different. At the core of it, I do think that advocacy and entrepreneurship should be about solving problems One through systems, that's why we're advocating, and the other one through strategy. How do we put these systems in place? When it's well aligned, we can create something more powerful than we can achieve individually as an advocate or as an entrepreneur. And in a way, I feel like when someone works with advocacy programs, they come up with the most sustainable changes. We come up with these ideas, how we're very idealistic in our advocacy, but we don't use the same idealistic mentality when it comes to integrating the entrepreneur part of it. So I just think that we've entered a new era where we must make the two meet. If you're advocating for youth empowerment, ask how you can build pathways for them to have an income. If you're pushing for education reform, then you should also push for how to scale it, how to make it more digital, how to make it more industrialized like the other countries where we live, or the future, the way it's projecting to be. It should really evolve beyond just, awareness or just the idealism of it. Really, advocacy and entrepreneurship should be the architecture in designing the solutions that we need to see. We should go beyond the campaign. It should go beyond empower a girl child. It should go beyond let's give more education. It just should be a movement that should have an impact, and that should be the architecture in fueling the future that we want to see.
Oh, perfect. You've actually answered my next question, is how can Diaspora support the gender equity, youth leadership, and legal empowerment remotely or on the ground?
Now, are you ready? Because how much time do you have?
Very, very, very brief, because like we said, we don't want to give the mic away to the lawyers. They might take it and go away with it. So very passionate about gender and youth, and these are two entities that go hand in hand. And how does your background as a legal professional, empower them?
I did take this question a bit personal, really, because A, I represent a gender, and B, I also want to think that I'm in the youth group, even though it's debatable, but that's okay.
We can put you in that category. Gen Z.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I said, debatable. But anyway, gender equity and youth leadership and legal empowerment are not side issues. Really, they should be the focus, the forefront of everything that we're trying to do. They should be the structural foundations of any society that wants to be just, inclusive, and forward moving. And someone trained in law school and rooted in, that's me, rooted in advocacy, I see that these as not as ideals, but as imperatives, Mm-hmm. The diaspora has a really powerful role in that, despite the distance, which seems to be the biggest gap, but it should be, we have the vintage point of view in where we can see something that somebody right now in Kenya might not see, because we've had the privilege sort of to live in both worlds. For me, for instance, I've lived in Kenya and I've lived here. So my vintage point of view might be a little bit different than a girl child in Kenya. But where I come in, or where diaspora should come in, is that we should replicate what we know. Like, what do I know? What have I learned? What can I improve upon? And what can I give to a June back in Machakos who hasn't seen what I've seen yet, who wants or desires change but doesn't know how to get it? How can I replicate that? And so to start with, gender equity, let's say, for instance, we're supporting girls, and I'm going to be a little biased here because I will speak about women and girls, and I'm going to say we're supporting girls. We're supporting education. We're supporting that it is the floor. It's the basic right, and it's not the ceiling, We must, I say we must, and I also say I must find a way to fund a pathway to whereby economically, right-wise, tech-wise, safety-wise, it is not marginalized for that woman that I want to support. All those things should not be marginalized. They shouldn't be so far out of reach that trying to bridge them feels like a battle. right? And the other part I'll say, let's say the youth leadership. It's not symbolism. It's not that, oh my gosh, look at what the Gen Z just did. It shouldn't be as reactionary as it feels, right? That should be our goal. That should be where we should be as a society. Youth needs to be more inspiring. They should, right now, they really do have they did turn the table on us and they said, this is what we want to see. However, we also do need to find the tools in the way that this isn't just like start and stop, or a thing that happens after a reaction that happens after a certain thing, like cause and effect. No, it should be more of a momentum. Where are we going? What are we building on? Who's actually sitting on these tables? Who's mentoring? Who's teaching? Who's sustaining this whole agenda, so that it doesn't start and die? Because the correlation here, to me, at least, is that every time we have an episode of a reaction, truly, and I'm going to call it truly a reaction, and I know I'm not representing it correctly as it should be, but I'm going to call it a reaction in this. We react, then we settle, then we react again. But all these reactions are not seemed, they're not seeming, they're not joined. They are starts and stops. We fight one thing today, we quiet. We fight another thing, we quiet. It shouldn't be that way. The momentum should be the same way if we want to see change sustained all throughout. And so from a legal empowerment, I do believe that it's my calling to protect the law, first of all, not to punish it. But too often we don't know our rights. And because we don't know our rights, we can't afford to represent ourselves. We're never taught how to represent ourselves. We're never taught how to work with a system. We're never taught how to change a system that's not working. And so it matters to me that I bring the same training that I've gotten so far, or the same training that I'd like to see for my people to back home. It matters to me that I replicate it. It matters to me that I work with them. It matters to me that we should have more of town hall meetings. Teach the youth, teach them the law, teach them how to go about it, teach the other group that we're trying to bridge with. So yeah, I can talk too much about this because it's too much of my passion, but we should use our voices as a, as a thing, as a channel.
Yeah, I appreciate what you said. The role of the youth should not be an aberration or something we just, like a passing wind. It should be part and parcel of the development of the.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sorry to cut you off, it's become more of a survival. Like it's a survival. It's.
Yeah, and I totally understood. So I was going to ask you about the youth role in the upcoming elections, but we will have to put that on the side in the interest of time and come back to it, because that will open a whole new can of worms.
And the way I practice that one.
And I'm sure you have something to say about that. But I'm going to talk to Engineer Alphonse Dzombo Baru from the Food Security Consortium, and he's been very quiet, and he's been a very good gentleman and understanding. Sorry to keep you waiting, but just tell us real quick, what is the state of food security in Kenya?
Kenya, in matters of food security, for now, we are food deficient as a country, majorly because of our focus to what we call staple foods. Every Kenyan will talk about maize, rice, and wheat, and forget the other foods. So most of the times we don't plant enough or harvest enough, so we always have a deficit. And we supplement the deficit from our neighboring countries like Tanzania, Mozambique, and Zambia and Uganda. But majorly, the reasons why we are in that state is because of three core reasons. One, due to high prices of staple foods, the maize, the wheat, and the rice. The focus for now for Kenya is to shift to more so to the traditional foods and basically to de-maize Kenya, because Kenya without maize is like Kenya with no food. Most Kenyans just fight for ugali everywhere else, forgetting that we have other foods, other options that we can have as a country. Recently, we had a conference on cassava promotion in the country. And we were surprised to know that Western Kenya and the coast has a lot of potential to grow cassava and supplement, where say maize does not have enough. The second reason is due to climate shocks. As a country, you know, the weather changes, the weather patterns are changing. 70% of our country is arid or semi-arid. Less than 30% is arable land. And there's a lot of focus to translate what they call the arid and semi-arid lands into arable lands. And you can only do this through partnerships and collaborations with the state organs or with the national government, with both the national and the county governments. More so, there's a shift to mitigate that through to move from rain-fed agriculture to irrigated rain agriculture. And herein comes in our Ministry of Water, Water, Sanitation and Irrigation and Agriculture. And there's a focus, as FSC, we have a focus to work closely with the State Department of Irrigation, whereby we are promoting irrigation-led agriculture. We are promoting the revival of our many irrigation schemes like Mwea, like Awendo, Tana, Bura, which are technically dead. But at Diaspora, we are trying to reactivate through the national program called National Irrigation Sector Implementation Plan, whereby the government has a plan to increase the acreage of irrigation in Kenya to beyond 1 million acres. And they have a very structured strategic plan to achieve all that. And we are happy as a FSC, obviously, to be partners in that. And very soon we're going to participate practically on the ground by having converting some lands into irrigation to grow more food. The other reasons basically is towards our small scale smallholder farmers. We need to change the way they are used to work. We need to bring them together and support them to have good agricultural practices to access quality and affordable inputs like fertilizers, seeds, and other machineries, and to give them a platform whereby they can access financial inclusion to support their activities. So those three points explain why we have that, but we have mitigation approaches we have as FSC, and we are happy to share here that we are heavily connected to the government departments that matter in matters food security in Kenya, the State Department of Irrigation, the State Department of Water, and the National Irrigation Authority. So we are working through other stakeholders to mitigate that.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the show one more time. What gaps exist in the agricultural infrastructure that the Diaspora can fill in?
Gaps. The Diaspora have the whole world in matters of agriculture to participate in. The only missing link is the engagement, structured engagement. Yeah, between the Diaspora, other stakeholders, and the government. Now, since devolution, have a truly kind of a government structure whereby to have an impact, one, you have to have a direct connection with the particular countries you're working with, and then scale up to the national government, work with the relevant ministries or state departments that matter. Now I'll share with you three gap areas here as Diaspora to participate in. Storage is a huge concept in matters of agriculture, infrastructure. When you talk about grains, we all talk about the National Cereals and Produce Board. There's in Nakuru, but spread out in the former regions. Every region used to have a National Cereals and Produce Board. Basically, it was just a storage for the grains when you harvest more, and also storage for the grains when you import more. Okay? And then storage again, when you go to the horticulture and perishable products space, we need to have cold houses all over. I can give a sad case here. I was in Lake Victoria, Murbe, those sides of Vipingo, whereby most farmers they produce the biggest fish there. But they have two issues logistically. One, storage and transport. And the fish produced in Migingo is meant to go to Europe. Okay? Now, building storage facilities for this guy will enhance the product, they increase the shelf life, and also they give them time to access good markets globally. Okay? When it comes to perishable products, I'll give you an example of Maconie County. To me, I'll call Maconie County as the grocery county for Kenya. You can find each and every fruit you want in Maconie County. You can find each and every grocery you want in Maconie County. But now storage. As FSC, we have entered into an MOU with the University of Nairobi through the Kibwezi training farm. It's a 12,000 acre farm, whereby we want to do some farming there, but more so look into ways and means of supporting the Makueni fruit farmers, whereby we are proposing to put up a cold storage facility, whereby when they harvest their fruits, we store them, package them, value add to them, and then look for a good market and export them. Okay. When the other gap we have is in the digital technology infrastructure. This basically is a support system, yeah, whereby the diaspora can come in and invest in this gap, because what we are trying to link here is the farmer and the consumer. It doesn't matter where the consumer is. Could be in Makueni, could be in Mombasa, could be where you guys are, but you need that real-time exchange of information and product prices cutting across the board. So there's so much that the diaspora can move in. But again, I want to position one item here. At Kenya, we are known to be a techno-savvy country. To support this, we have the Konza, the coming Konza city, whereby all the systems are based there, and the diaspora can come in and look for spaces within Konza, whereby the technopolis are now spread out to the regions. Basically, every region, the former province is going to have a techno city under the Special Economic Zone Authority, whereby the diaspora can come in and plug into that. I remember sometimes last year, members of the diaspora came to Kenya and we went to Konza and we were shown the opportunities that lie in Konza, but idle, just waiting for the diaspora community, diaspora to come and connect with the local people here and create something, and plug into that gap. The other area I'll go back to the diaspora in matters agriculture infrastructure is again in the agricultural space, whereby as food security consortium here, our main objective are just two: matters food security and water security. Now, in matters food security, I'll tell you for a fact here, over 12 of our public irrigation schemes in this country, in Kenya, are taken dead. Why? Basically, as Nzilani has said here, the issue is not so much of money, but about infrastructure. You come in here, pull in your resources, and go one by one to each irrigation scheme. Go to Mwea, go to Bura, reactivate that infrastructure, invest in it, and make money out of it. Through that, as FSC again, we are partnering with the State Department of Irrigation to create a diaspora-led infrastructure bond. An infrastructure bond is a bond whereby it's basically meant to service a particular sector or infrastructure. In this case, we are saying, as a diaspora, we are coming in to support the government in alleviating food insecurity in the country. How? We are proposing to work with the State Department of Irrigation, whereby they have given us as a platform whereby we move in, pull in diaspora resources, collect funds, and support sector-led projects. Now, for the SDI, they have a very good program running now since March this year called National Irrigation Sector Investment Implementation Plan, whereby they're proposing to have over 1.2 million acres under irrigation in this country. As you all know, one of the biggest irrigation schemes in Kenya is Galana-Kulalu, whereby we have 1 million acres there proposed to produce majorly maize. We have other irrigation schemes like Taita Taveta, whereby we use water from the Kilimanjaro water tower running throughout the year, running to west to Lake Jipe, and we want to harness that and do a proof of concept of not less than 10,000 acres just in Taita Taveta. We are proposing to do the same thing in Bura, Tana River County. Basically, through the State Department of Irrigation, we do another. The projection of Bura, the irrigation scheme, was over 265,000 acres. To date, they're doing less than 25,000 acres. We are saying as FSC, through the State Department of Irrigation and through their program, we can increase that acreage to say from 25,000 acres that they're doing now to say 100,000 acres to start with. Over, we go to a Takwa irrigation scheme in Turkana. We do the same. So we are all covered with the State Department of Irrigation, with the State Department of Water, and National Irrigation Authority to deliver on this food security promise.
Perfect. So your NGO can definitely partner with NGOs in the diaspora and make this a very important issue of water, because water is life basically. So if we don't have enough water, or if it's not utilized the right way, then I don't think there'll be any kind of agriculture, and then there'll be no food, and then people will starve. So
as FSC, we have two companies. One is Food Security Kenya Limited, focus on matters food security, and then we have Food Security NGO, focus on matters ASAL, arid and semi-arid lands, whereby you are going to focus on water harvesting, giving water to the pastoral communities, giving them more fodder, and just basically improve their lives.
All right, perfect. Don't forget, we have another opportunity to get all this information from our panelists here, Mr. Kariuki from Vipingo Group, and also June Zelani from OVC. On May 31st, check on the link on the screen right now. Join the webinar, get more information. You can also reach us on radiomajuu@gmail.com, and go to the website, radiomajuu.com, and get more information from there. So we're going to throw the panel or the floor open.
On Vipingo?
No, this is for everybody. But before we go there, I've learned something today that all of you have used, and this is structured. So what you guys gentlemen have mentioned is if somebody wants to go into any kind of partnership or into any kind of business or venture in Kenya, it's better to partner with a structured organization or a structured entity or company. And I think that is a very good idea, because obviously, like Vipingo, you have established your niche market, you have the information, you have the policy and all the guidelines that somebody needs to follow. So I don't come there as a new investor and start from reinventing the wheel, sort of. So you both alluded to the fact that joining a structured venture is very good, and I think that is something that we can follow up in the webinar and see how that can work for especially diaspora investors and diaspora partners who want to go into any kind of venture, be it entrepreneurship or food securities, as our good engineer has mentioned. So the floor is open right now. We can.
Before we close, I'd like to pitch on Vipingo.
Yeah.
Vipingo matters a lot to us as a food security consortium. Okay. Currently, as we speak to you here, we are talking to Vipingo Development Limited through Mr. Martin Kariuki here. to move into Vipingo and make some investments through the Diaspora Forum. One, we are focused on what Martin has just shared here in real estate. We are in the planning of buying some acres there, which we are going to divide them into plots and sell off, and also to develop high-end apartments and sell to our members and to the open market. As FSC, through another affiliate organization, Proximity City of Return in Malindi, we are already on the ground there. We have a proposal to do 400 units. We have started on the first 100 units. Still on Vipingo, of interest here, I'd like to pitch on this. When you come to the economic delivery plan of the government, it has kind of structured the delivery through economic zones, the whole country. Okay. So you'll find that we have economic zones basically in all the regions, and every county is trying to have an economic zone. Last year, December, with Martin and through Centamri and Vipingo Development Limited, the president issued a title deed to Vipingo, to Centamri and Vipingo Development Limited for 2,000 acres to develop what they call Vipingo Free Trade Zones. Okay, and this is huge because Centam has gone ahead and formed a consortium with another infrastructure developer called Arise to do a 3.6 billion investment in the special economic zone in Vipingo. Now, this is huge to Diaspora. What Martin was sharing here as opportunities in Vipingo, to me as an engineer, as a technical person, I'm seeing Vipingo as an industrial hub coming. And Vipingo, through Centam, through Martin here, is inviting you, through us also as Food Security Consortium, to come in and invest in all those professional lines that you're talking about. Just imagine in the delivery, there's construction of that special economic zone. A $3.6 billion investment. That will include all the industry you can talk of, be it pharmaceutical, be it mechanical, be it normal manufacturing. All these are geared toward the export. Remember, Vipingo is less than 30 kilometers from Mombasa Port, less than 30 kilometers from the SGR. So the logistical hub in the coast in the country is favoring Vipingo, and through that investment, I'm here as FSC, and through Mr. Martin here, for the diaspora to take a keen look into that $3.6 billion investment. Everyone has a chance there. Just come on board, come on the ground, connect with Martin, work with us, we deliver that. After delivery, what happens? It's the management. All these products will be produced in Vipingo, are meant for the country and for the export market. Again, back to the diaspora. Now, through linkages and market access, the diaspora, where are the investors? If I want to do industrial starch, cassava starch from Vipingo, and export it to Los Angeles, where are you? Which space have you taken as diaspora? Kindly move in and do it. I'll give you an example again of Makueni. Makueni and Governor Professor Kibwana did an agro-processing plant, mango, to produce mango puree for the export market. And it's growing. They now have oranges and other fruits being packaged for the export market. Now, in Vipingo, again, through Martin here, they have a huge industrial infrastructure base, whereby we are calling in the diaspora to come in and put agro-processing investment in Vipingo. Let's make Vipingo work. Let's make Kenya work. Diaspora, come to the ground. Ujeni chini, mtengeze pesa.
Okay, so you've actually elaborated on these structures that we're talking about, and it seems that the structures are already in place. So all we need to do is do the connection, do the networking, and put these people together. Diaspora, obviously, I hadn't thought of this, but they can also act as people who can find markets for some of these products. So, that is another opportunity. So my question my next question was going to be what does diaspora opportunity mean to you in practical terms? And you've just elaborated on some very good opportunities there. And maybe you can, or any of you can elaborate on more opportunities that maybe you have not touched on. Mr. Kariuki.
Thank you. The opportunities that I feel that diasporians can take advantage of, in addition to what engineer has mentioned, is the service industry. Because yes, we have all these plans, we want to do big things, but if you look at the special economic zone that the engineer has mentioned, we are putting here at Vipingo. For context, Vipingo is 10,000 acres. And of that 10,000 acres, 2,000 is what is a special economic zone. If you look at the people who have already started arriving in the country and they are with us here in Vipingo, they are basically coming to offer a service. We have engineers coming from India, others coming from Benin. We have transportation and traffic engineers. They're coming in to bring in that global perspective. But now you find that these people are not Kenyan.
Yeah.
They're coming in to bring an expertise because what you are planning to do here in Vipingo has not been done elsewhere in this country. So there's a lot of tapping into the knowledge and to the service industry elsewhere where similar projects have been done. What is stopping from our own Kenyan diasporans and East African diasporas? Because we are one ecosystem in East Africa.
Yeah.
What is stopping them from coming? Because if I look at the team that has already come here in preparation to start the horizontal infrastructure in August for the 2,000 acre special economic zone, they are from everywhere else apart from East Africa.
Yes.
Wow.
These are the people designing how the junction of the special economic zone will coordinate well with the existing Mombasa-Malindi highway.
Yes.
They are the one estimating how many trucks will be coming in and out of the special economic zone, what kind of compaction will be needed on these roads to make sure they don't sink where the trucks are passing. Very highly specialized. They are selling us a service. If I look at one of the investment that has been done here in Vipingo, still in our development, where an investor has put a 20,000 metric tons storage facility, so that he can import cooking gas and distribute to East African market in the retail market. When you look at the pipeline he has laid into the ocean, 600 meters from the shore to the ocean, so that the ships can come and dock safely. If you look at the skill set of people who are coming to do that kind of highly specialized work, we don't have East Africans diasporians. There are people from elsewhere apart from East Africa. So I believe there is a lot of knowledge gap that diasporians can take advantage of. Noting that what engineer said, Kenya, despite what everybody else is saying, we believe Kenya is headed in the right direction, and I'm not campaigning for the current regime. But if you look at the concept of trying to have every county have a special economic zone,
Yes.
Others are having aggregation zones so that farmers can aggregate their produce there. They form a cooperative so that if they want to negotiate with the manufacturer, they are approaching the manufacturer as a cooperative. All these zones, once they have been implemented, they'll transform this country once and for all. But there's a lot of knowledge skill set that is needed. And I believe most of the diasporians, you've had the opportunity to get education in some of the best institutions in the world. You've had the opportunity to get work experience in economies that are way advanced than East Africa. So I believe there's a lot of, we'll be very happy if we have East Africans coming to be the one offering this knowledge, this service, selling us their brain. and if there's something that you've realized is very expensive, is that when somebody is selling you a piece of his brain, so that you can do a project that meets the world standards, that thing is very expensive than somebody selling you a commodity. So the service industry is big. We have customers buying properties here, but whenever they come and they ask us, can I have a lawyer who understands the Kenyan law, but also, if I'm coming from, let's say, US or UK, can give me a good comparative. How are things different in Kenya from what I'm used to in this particular country? That's a cross-geographical lawyer, somebody who understands the local context, but also can advise, because diaspora customers are buying our property. But some of them don't buy, because when they come here, they find that we do things differently, slightly differently than how they are used to abroad. So there's a lot of opportunities in selling of the knowledge. And the good thing is, when you're selling a knowledge, you don't suffer any loss, because you're selling your brain, you're selling your experience, you're selling your knowledge. So you can't say there is an expiry date for what you're offering to your country. Okay. But I believe, even if you look at the project like we did in Two Rivers in Nairobi, we didn't have a lot of Kenyans. The nearest we went to get into the knowledge was South Africa, because you're doing something that has not been done before in East Africa. So to me, I believe that the diasporans can take advantage of the service knowledge. And I believe even engineers, he does his irrigation schemes. We don't want dams that are breaking banks the following week. We need people to come and tell us, this has been done in this country. I have been trained on this. We have this money going to our own Kenyans diasporans. Thank you.
Perfect. I see Ms. Nzilani has raised her hand, but real quick to recap before I give you the opportunity. So Mr. Kariuki has mentioned about the opportunities that are available, are existing, and then there's the existing structures that somebody can actually tap into and take advantage of these opportunities. And also I had a question about what policies or government frameworks support diaspora investments. So you've mentioned about the special economic zones. I'd like to dig a little bit deeper and just give us a point by point about what a special economic zone is supposed to do, and exactly how can diaspora take advantage of it. And before you answer, either of you gentlemen, maybe Zelani can chime in real quick.
Yeah, I just was going to comment real quickly about what he spoke about on the service industry and how there's been such a big gap. And quickly, without dating myself, I do feel some sort of way as a Kenyan when I go to Kenya, and especially when I go to a service industry like Mombasa. And somehow the service industry treats us a lot different than they treat foreigners. And that's something to me that needs to be challenged greatly in its core, because yes, we do understand foreigners have come in, they've invested, blah, 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 blah. It's a good old tale that's been told of many, many years. But here we are, you people are advocating for more East African involvement, but when we're there, we are not treated the same way you treat other people. And that's a concept that needs to be challenged. And you did ask me about the diaspora involvement in Kenya and all that, but we do want to challenge that. If you want more of our involvement outside of remittances, you got to treat us better than we treat us now.
Oh, most
And
definitely.
I don't want to throw any stones. I'm just going to rest there.
Okay. Zilani wants us to be here for another hour, but I'm going to interrupt us if I can. Yeah, about the existing opportunities for diaspora, obviously. But I'm curious though. You mentioned that these irrigation schemes are taking up thousands and thousands of acres, especially the Galana. I saw His Excellency President Ruto out there. Talking about hundreds of thousands of acres. I can't imagine. Me, I'm trying to get a 50 by 100, and and here we're doing thousands and thousands of acres. I mean, I want a piece of that. I know I'm not an engineer or a lawyer, but I'm in media. I don't know if media also can sell a part of my brain. Somebody is buying, I can chip in, maybe advertise it. And then another funny thing is. What are the most scalable factors, sectors that diaspora, especially in East Africa, can get in there, and how do we de-risk diaspora investments? Those are two-in-one questions. But since Mr. Kariuki has mentioned that there is a lack or a very low intake or uptake in the participation of East Africans, especially in the diaspora, of course, the linkage is there is a high opportunity. But there's very low uptake, especially from the East Africa. I mean, don't talk about me. Me, I want to get all the opportunities that I can get, and that's why I'm here in the media space, exploring these opportunities, telling other people about these opportunities. Even if myself I don't take advantage of it, maybe somebody else will tune in and understand the opportunities that are available. So. This is for anybody. What unique value does diaspora perspective bring to real estate, Mr. Kariuki, advocacy, Mr. Zilani, and of course food security for Mr. Dzombo? And we can try and keep it short, but try and highlight the main points.
Let me try to pick it up from what Martin has just shared. And I just want to focus on one thing: how things work. Okay. How things work. And I want to talk as an engineer and as a contractor. Now, we don't lack the professionals in Kenya.
Yeah.
In Mombasa here, where I am now, I'm faced with two mega infrastructure projects that are just about to run concurrently. I have a three-year project at the port of Mombasa through the Mombasa Special Economic Zone. It's just a small one, worth about 6 billion potentially. And then next year we have Mr. Martin there with his over 400 Kenya shilling billions project coming in. Now, how these things work is this: one, and this is where the other regions, other African beat us. One, they go for the job, get the job. Once we get the job, organize how to deliver on the job, and this is where people, the diaspora, other Kenyans should come in now and form special purpose vehicles to deliver on these jobs. Once you have that SPV, then you can pull in any other professional that you want to deliver that particular job. And this professional now, they are all over Kenya. They are all over in the Kenyan diaspora. The disconnect is the engagement. I should know where George is and what George can do. I should know where Zilani is, what Zilani can do. Now, the value add that Zilani and George will bring me will give space for that Kenya before it goes to other Africans. So once we have this SPVs, we identify the team, and then we go for the sourcing, the financing. How do these things get financed? Through PPPs, private-public partnerships. That's where the diaspora will feel comfortable. One, there's a job, there's a special purpose vehicle, there's a team to deliver on the job, and now the diaspora comes in and plugs in their money. Okay? Now, through that way, we won't miss this profession. They're all over. I can give an example for Martin again, because the Vipingo project for me is of so much interest. The guys who are doing survey works at that project are just based here in Mombasa. And the owners are not as educated or as exposed as the diaspora. What they do is they have the money and they employ everybody they want. Now, from the diaspora perspective, we have to get organized and focus on the mega projects in this country. I'll give you one last example. For the last 12 months, we've seen a lot of Tanzanians coming into Mombasa port to invest in the LPG sector, the dark gas sector. We have over 3 major investments from Tanzanians here. What Martin has in Vipingo is through Lake Gas. Lake Gas are Tanzanians. Yeah? But if you look at the oil and gas industry in this country, we have so many professionals, some of whom are in the diaspora. But bringing these diasporans together as Kenyans to go for these jobs is the challenge. We have to manage trust. The main issue is the trust deficit. Can you manage that? Then you have everything together. We have the proposed Tanga, Mombasa gas pipeline, which is coming. But who's planning for that? The diaspora should know these things in ahead, plan in advance before they get tendered, to know where the specifications are, when the job is going to be tendered, who's going to tender, whom they're going to front as diasporans, or in partnership with Martin here. And after they get the job, who's going to finance it? How do we pull our resources and direct them to deliver on the projects? So we have the professionals. Those mega projects you see in Tanzania, Uganda, Lake Albert, in Malawi, in Mozambique, they're done by Kenyans, but they're not organized that way. Let's make that change through the diaspora. Let's get the diaspora organize themselves. Let them get a special purpose vehicle. They all come in there. Let's get the best from the finance and economists, organize the numbers there, and we go for these jobs. These jobs are there, and these jobs should be done by Kenyans, whether locally or from the diaspora. They're open. Thank you.
Wow. So definitely these projects have been studied for viability. So it's something that obviously will have some good returns, or sort of guaranteed returns. So it's an opportunity that many people can actually take advantage of. And I've seen an opportunity myself in terms of communication. So as a communications professional, there's a gap between, maybe Delani can correct me, of what opportunities are, especially in East and Central Africa, and what diaspora professionals can do. So if we can get the word, or get the diaspora professionals organized in such a way that, you know, there's a free flow of information. And as much as this structure in Kenya, we've talked about the structured vehicles that real estate, irrigation and investment, then we have another structured community here that is organized and ready to go at the moment's notice with the correct information, so that when these projects come up and these opportunities come up, they can merge real quick. I've already seen a role for me there, so watch out for Radio Majuu. If you're listening, it's Radio Majuu. I'm your host, George Gichobi, and it's Monday Majuu each and every Monday. And of course, I have some of my guests here that have come to join us in this very auspicious occasion of creating or explaining opportunities that are abound. I've started seeing that there's a lot of opportunities actually that abound. My guest is June Zilani from OVC, an advocate here in DC, Alphonse Mbaru, an engineer with Food Security Consortium, and of course, Martin Kariuki, the VP for Vipingo Development. So you say the Vipingo development is 10,000 acres, but only 2,000 is being utilized. So how much of that is real estate, and what are the what's the rest for? What is it? What other opportunities are there? What else is being done?
So Vipingo development is being 10,000. It is structured. I think that's a takeaway word from.
Yes. Structured will be plastered right on top of it.
Yeah, it is structured, and engineers and other technical people will say it's master planned. So it is, out of the 10,000, it is half of it is dedicated for industrial purposes. And industrial is divided into three. There's a special economic zone, which we said is 2,000 acres. And there's a question, George, you asked, and I would like to educate briefly our listeners. What is a special economic zone? Because maybe somebody is wondering, what is this zone? So a special economic zone is a special designated area by the government, a physical area that stipulates that if anybody was to establish a particular type of a business within that geographical location, they are entitled to fiscal benefits. Fiscal benefits are the tax incentives. For example, if you are a local company in Kenya, registered in Kenya, your corporate tax is 30%. If you're operating in a special economic zone, your corporate tax is only 10%. So there's a huge saving, and this goes all the way to 20 years. On the 21st year is when you revert back to 30%. By then, you'll have made your money. If there's dividends to be paid, if you're in a special economic zone, if your business has presence in the special economic zone, you don't pay withholding tax on the dividends. The value-added tax, you don't pay any value-added tax. It's called VAT at 16%. You don't pay on any raw materials that comes to your business. That is what we call a special economic zone. It is meant to lower the cost of doing business so that if you're exporting that product, you can deliver it to the country. If it's Dubai, you can deliver it to Dubai cheaper than the same product coming from Zimbabwe, for example. If in Zimbabwe, the tax was not incentivized for the manufacturer. So the first part is special economic zone. The second one is export processing zone. They are more or less the same because if you're in a special economic zone, you can sell both locally or export. But if you're in an export processing zone, you still enjoy the tax benefits, but you must export at least 80% of what you make or what you produce. Then there's a general industrial park. Here, you're not interested in the special economic zone. You're not interested in export processing zone. You just need somewhere to put your warehouse and do your stuff. So Vipingo development is structured in a way that almost half of it is taking into account those three investors. Yeah. And when you establish an economic activity, then people will need food, which is what engineer is addressing. People will need accommodation, which is now what we are encouraging people to invest in Vipingo. People will need schools. So we are encouraging investors to come and build schools in our Vipingo development structured master plan. People will need a shopping mall. It's a whole ecosystem because if you sell people houses and there is no economic activity within that locality, those houses will be empty. So if an investor is buying to get a return in diaspora, the same tenants will get are the people who will be working in these industries that are being established within the special economic zone. So that's how we've structured the entire 10,000 acres. Every square inch of it has been documented for what it will be. So if you want to enjoy high-rise buildings, there's a section for high-rise. If you just want your own green compound, there's a section for you. If you want an international school, a local school, affordable school, end to end. I know there's a question, Julian, you asked, are we taking care of only the high end? No, we do the full spectrum. There is because where you find the mass, even in residential, it's not in the high end. You find the mass of the demand in the middle income all the way to the low end. So what we do is you must, if you're gonna do sustainable business, especially in real estate, you have to cater across the entire spectrum. You cannot just focus on one. What you need is a good balance, because if you don't get the balance right, then you'll have the largest slum next to Vipingo development. And you've seen it happening in most African countries.
Yes, yes.
That next to a high-end estate, there's a slum. Is because they focused on just the high-end. But these high-end people, they will need a gardener, they will need a cleaner, they will need a cook. Where do they go? Because they can't afford to stay in the high-end. Somebody across the road will create makeshift and give them very cheaply for accommodation. So we factored in all that in our structure to make sure that even that security guard who will be working in this gated community, in those businesses, those factories, there is a suitable accommodation for them. We call them social housing. So that we don't have the largest slum in Africa next to a well-structured Vipingo development.
We have seen this obviously in Kibera, surrounding Karen, Langata. So, that's a very good foresight in trying to avoid the same situation and obviously cater to everybody that will be there, thus increasing their standards of life and obviously making the whole project very viable. So we are running actually way over time, but we can try and speed this up. Thank you very much for coming through. June Zilani with OVC, Alphonse Mbaru with FSC, and Martin Kariuki, obviously, with Vipingo Development. So really quick, before I go to my next question. So these special economic zones, do they also give you a tax break on, let's say you're importing excavators or you're bringing in some tools? Do you pay tax on that one too? Do you know?
So the special economic zone, it gives you some guidance. And before you establish a business in the special economic zone, you are required to get a pre-approval from the CESA. CESA is the authority.
Okay.
Now, if you are gonna import just for sale, you are not getting, there's no value addition. You're just importing to come and offload. So in most of the cases, you'll find that not all businesses will be approved to operate within the special economic zone. And that's why with Vipingo, we have provided for the three. In case you're not approved, you go to the general industrial park because you'll enjoy the closeness to the sea.
Okay.
That means if you're importing, once your goods land here, you're not transferring, not transporting them for another 300 kilometers to the yard.
Okay.
You can actually save on that cost because you're just next to the sea. The special economic zone is meant, first of all, to stimulate production.
Okay.
And it's also meant to stimulate a lot of exports. So that is the core business of a special economic zone. So if you're just importing, say, a car from Japan to come and sell here, you will not get those incentives.
No incentive.
But if you are importing the parts to come and assemble the vehicle here, then you can fit within the special economic zone.
Wow. All right. Perfectly. So I've seen a lot of opportunities. Of course, our theme today is exploring opportunities in East Africa, and I'm amazed that there's even more opportunities that I thought of, and the scale is astounding to me. If I can be real over here, maybe one thing that I think might be a hindrance is the financing. As much as the diaspora might have some disposable income, if you're talking about a project worth like 10 billion, that will require some kind of financing. Is there any kind of path or a set structured way that diaspora can come in and leverage some of this financing, whether it's international or local, to be part of this project? Because I know if they have the right information and it's delivered to them where they know there's, it's transparent enough, they will want to participate in it.
I think there's a way to that. And from the perspective of FSC, one is to get the diaspora organized.
Okay.
Once they organize, they go to the next stage of having a special purpose vehicle.
Okay.
After that, they go and identify the project. Once the project is identified, it will be monetized. They'll know how much is needed to invest in that project. Now they can opt to raise the finances from within the diaspora through their special purpose vehicle, or they can have a combination with their local resources, and also they can opt to the open market and raise the same through a bond. Let's say a bond, yeah, whereby they come together, raise the money, and invest that, whereby we have guarantees for the relevant governments, county and national. And then we also have some bankable numbers that have been done to ensure good returns to investors. Wow. So there's a way that we can do, but majorly what we need to demystify and manage is the diaspora trust deficit.
Oh, okay. All right. That's actually the advice I'm looking for. We can delve deeper into that in terms of diaspora participating in locally owned and initiated programs. So if you're listening right now, welcome to Radio Majuu. Obviously, we have a webinar. The details and the link is right here on your screen. Make sure to join us on May 31st. Click on the link or check on the flyer details so that we can expound on some more opportunities that are being offered either in the realms of real estate, industrialization, and all areas that you can invest in Kenya, in East Africa. I'm even going to go East and Central Africa, as much as we can focus on the bigger pie that would mean a bigger cake to share, or a bigger project to invest in. What are the potential for diaspora engagements in rural versus urban areas? Vipingo, I want to say not rural, but semi-rural, and places like Mombasa and Nairobi's urban development, like Kariuki has said, they have the two rivers, so that is really urban. What is the potential for diaspora to engage in both of these areas?
The opportunities for investment for diasporas for both rural and urban setup. From where I see it, I think for rural is more of what engineer is talking about, agriculture. Because as a country, we still far away from feeding our population. And if today you go to the rural villages in Kenya, a lot of farming is still being done at the retail level. So if you go to a county like Nyandarua County, during the rainy season, like now, they will harvest a lot of potatoes and cabbages. But because everybody is harvesting at the same time, the market will be flooded and there will be no value. So most of them will end up being eaten by cows. Now, when it comes to September, and nobody has cabbages, and nobody has potatoes, and the market is willing to pay a premium. But because we don't have cold facilities, all that was surplus during the rainy season was either went to waste or it was fed to livestock. So that presents a huge opportunity for diasporians in the rural setting. I believe preservation of our food produce during the seasons of plenty, you can make money when you're flooded to the market during the period of scarcity. In the urban setup, if you look at the colonial urban cities that we have in East Africa, there's nothing much we can do. The zoning, the way it was during independence versus the zoning now, I would say there's a lot of difference. And if it rains when you're in Nairobi or Mombasa, you are encouraged, if you see a pool of water, please don't drive your car or your foot into it, because you don't know how deep it is. You might slip there. That tells you things like drainage are not functioning properly. So the next frontier in the urban investment is actually what has been done in most countries. And we've taken some time to study the pattern of urbanization and how development in the urban setup take place. If you look at a place like Mombasa, right now is very packed in terms of development, but the population is still growing. Rural to urban migration will continue. So when we come 30 kilometers from Mombasa, it's because we know if we don't create another organized urban development on the periphery of the existing colonial urban center, there will be crisis and chaos in the next few years. Even if you look at Two Rivers, it's not urban per se. We are on the periphery of Nairobi. We are on the boundary of Nairobi County and Kiambu County. It's because we saw an opportunity that as young people and more people will be coming to Nairobi City, those who want to stay in an organized development, they will not find anywhere. So there is that opportunity. If you go to Uganda, where we have a big project, almost 400 acres, we are on the outskirts of Entebbe and further outskirts from Kampala. It's because we know if we don't create those organized cities on the periphery of the existing cities, in the next 10, 20 years, nobody will want to go to the colonial cities. So the opportunity for diaspora in the urban setup, don't focus on the existing colonial cities, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kampala, Entebbe, and so forth. Focus on the emerging cities. And that's what we are creating. And that's what we want to do even in other African countries. That we create emerging cities, but functional. Very different from what we have existing, the one we inherited from the colonial powers. I believe that gives a better perspective on the rural and urban investment opportunities.
Well, you've taken my mind in a whole different area, so we might be have to redo this or just focus on the upcoming webinar. If not, we can obviously do another show and talk some more, and then obviously take questions from the listeners and see what they're talking about. So one takeaway is you said it's projects that will be in the future, 10, 20 years down the line. So that means well, the youth or the young people that are coming up are the ones that are actually going to benefit from this. So maybe I can swivel back to June and see all these discussions that we're talking about. How can young people, either in the diaspora or even on the ground, tap into these projects? What role can they play, or should they just be on the sidelines and wait and see, if they can get something out of it in the future? What role can they play now, and what opportunities are there for them?
Yeah, I mean, as I listen to what Mr. Martin and Mr. Alphonse are saying, really, there seems to be that there is an opportunity out there. However, I'm curious, and I was just curious to see how much of this opportunity is, first of all, transmitted to what you call ground before we transmit it to what to a diaspora, right? And you did touch on it a little bit, and you said, we don't want to build high ends next to slums, because my concern is always, okay, let's say somebody from outside can afford. Let's say Nigerians and South Africans and Europeans can come in and afford what you're selling, right? How can somebody kwa nchi yetu and you were trying to develop be encouraged by that? Are they gonna look and say, yeah, that's not for me. I don't have that sort of money. I don't even have a way to contribute. How can we contribute? And I do think one of the ways maybe is you transmitting the information let's not even say, let's not even talk on the money or affordability too much, but is there enough information that you're giving out, or other opportunities and access that you're handing out in a way that you might not buy this high-end rise whatever building that we're structuring, but hey, you can get involved, let's say, with plantation, or you can secure yourself a little piece of land and start producing some sort of fruit or whatever. You talk about Makueni, and I'm like thinking to myself, oh wow, do the people in Makueni all actually know that there's this opportunity, that they can take advantage of these things? Are they being educated in what to cultivate and how to cultivate and what fertilizers to use? Or how is this information being spread across? And that would be one way that the youth can get involved, right? We did see, again, let's say in politics, the youth got involved when they had enough, because the enough came because they weren't being represented. They were constantly being overlooked. You know, the outcries are not being addressed by anybody. And we don't want to replicate that. We don't want to see another thing like that. So the quickest way, I feel you should distribute this information all across, non-discriminatory, give it to everybody, and find little ways or little niches whereby people can take, ground can take advantage of that, right? There's this really common saying, I think it's an African saying, that says, if you want to run far, you run by yourself. But if you
want to run farther, you run with other people.
There's running and there's yourself and there's other people, but just focus on the other people, and let's find that we can find ways for other people to contribute, not just the people in the diaspora. Let's find ways that other people in Kenya, young, old, Mama Wasoko, like how can you improve her situation in whereby her production of Sukuma Wiki, her storage of Sukuma Wiki isn't overlooked in the chase for, you know, bigger and better, greener plantations in Konza, Maniwapi, Konza, right?
Yeah. Konza, mega city.
Right. Yeah. We should transfer the information really across all borders. And as much as we're advocating for diaspora to come in and build and come in and invest and come in and bring their knowledge and resources, what more knowledge or little knowledge you already have at your disposal, you should also include the ones that you deal with, the ones that actually will be working for you. Because how are engineers, for instance, like Alphonse, how are you supposed to transmit your knowledge if you're constantly outsourcing and you're not actually empowering the people that you're trying to benefit?
All right, which segues right into my next question. What kind of networks should a diasporan tap into before launching a project? And this is both for the young people and the old people. So if I want to, and it's also something that Engineer Alphonse said too, there's that infrastructure that we need to build over here too, to be able to organize into special purpose vehicles or whatever other way, that way that we can form like a network. So if somebody has a project and they can say, okay, I know network ABC is in networking or is in IT, or network BCD is in engineering and infrastructure, and network D is in real estate, then I can, tap into them and include them into the project. So what kind of networks should diasporans tap into that maybe I've not mentioned real quick, somebody?
No, without repeating what everybody has already said, all those networks, we should tap into them quickly as possible. I think there's this conditioning that we've been conditioned, do the thing by yourself, just so that when you fail, you can limit the magnitude.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's like some sort of, throw it away. Get with the people that you know, or the people that you're trying to know. Or if you want to go to law school, you go and, shadow lawyers, shadow courts, whatever. Get into all those networks. I don't think there's one particular network that you should focus on. I think you should just get on all the networks that present these opportunities that you want to get involved in. I don't want to keep repeating what it's already been said, but I don't think there's just one network that we should be focusing on. We should be as collaborative as possible.
Okay. I think the media can act as the glue, because in terms of putting out the word, in terms of bringing all these stakeholders together. So there's an opportunity there for Radio Majuu and other media forums that they can use to create these networks with the help of technology. Obviously, now we're meeting. Others are in Mombasa, some are in Los Angeles, and others in Makueni, and we can actually meet and discuss. And so this is actually one of the networks that we are creating, and hopefully we can make it more stable and make it something that can translate into actionable things that we can actually do. Alrighty, maybe two or three more questions real quick, and then we wrap up. Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen, for coming through. We have June Zilani from OVC, an advocate in Maryland, and Alphonse Mbaru, Food Security Consortium over there in the coastal region of Kenya. And of course, we have Martin Kariuki, the Managing Director of Vipingo Development PLC. I would really love to delve into the details of the project, because I see a lot of potential. I see things that I could actually sell, or even if not sell, but at least advise or tell other people about, and depending on their position right now, they'll be able to take advantage of. So media will play a big role, and we are here to support in any way we can. So what are the key lessons from not all projects are successful? There's some projects that fail. So what are the key lessons that we can learn from failed projects, and how do we avoid having projects that that can withstand the test of time?
I can take that. Yeah, it's true. Just like in a family, whenever you have, say, 5 children, you might find one of them is not very good at school. And the world is not very ideal. It's very practical. So, yes, there is a lot of lessons we've learned in our journey since 1967. Because that's when this company was formed under Centum. The school, we say we've paid enough school fees to be where we are today. And one of the key things that we've come to appreciate is that when you are starting a project, just be sure that things will fail. Because when you assume everything will work out as it is on paper, you get disappointed. To be more specific, you see the point I raised earlier of diasporians taking advantages of opportunities back home. If it's not well done, it can fail in a big way. And I'm speaking this from experience from one of our projects we did in Nairobi. We gave an organized group of people who said they can be contractors. And when they bidded for the project, it was a big project, but it was about 5 billion shillings. I think those are like 50,000 or $5 million.
That sounds like $5 million. If it's
$5 million. Yeah. So they bidded, and of course they beat everyone, every local contractor here. But when they started the project, they abandoned it when it was 20% done, because they realized everything on paper was not working for them. So they didn't see the need to finish the project, because already at 20%, it was burning them in a big way. Wow. That's why I said, even as we organize ourselves into a structured way, because when you organize yourself into an entity, you can bid for big projects. And when you submit your bid, because bids are public, it will catch the attention. But that local contextualization is very, very important, because maybe I'm used to buying, you know, in Kenya, there are things that work on paper. There are things you have to pass through crooked way. You know how things work. You have to pay maybe where you get the stones from the quarry. They have advertised one stone is 50 shillings. Then you realize when you go there, you have to pay parking fees for your truck. You have to pay all manners of other costs. So a local mindset will give you that localization, so that even as you submit your proposal to participate in these works we have, these opportunities we have, you have the understanding on the ground. Because they say in Swahili, things on the ground are a bit different. So we had to go back to the drawing board and start looking for a local contractor to finish that project. Another key thing that is a huge concern that diasporians should be careful is on the financing. If you are going to do a project and you're not being funded by an NGO, you're not being funded by the government, you rather have a financier, either locally or abroad, so that when you're starting the project, you have an idea of the funding to the end. What most people do is that they say, me, I'll sell to people, and as they pay, I'll develop. On paper, yes, you can see how the cash flow, how it will come and how you'll construct. Wait until something like COVID happens and people are safeguarding the cash they were supposed to pay you. You'll close the site and you'll stall. And that is the case of how projects stall in East Africa, is because the funding was there, but it was not enough. So they assumed that we will be able to receive, because we are building as we sell. As we collect from the customers, we should be able to finish the project. Then something happens. You throw the project into disarray. So the main thing to look for is local context, because things could be a bit different from what you're used to in the diaspora. Number two is the funding. If you're going to do any project, you'd rather have funding for it. And there's a question that June asked, if I can also add and my insight into it, about the youth and women. The reason why we are keen on the diaspora investing back home is because in Kenya, the biggest challenge is capital. And diasporians, you have the capital, because if you're in a USD denominated territory, that money, when it comes here, it's a lot of money. This capital, when you invest it back home, if today you are to come to all our projects, Uganda, Nairobi, Vipingo, the few projects that are active, you'll find that the people who cook, the people who do the cash work, the people who do, you know, all those jobs that don't need you to have formal education, everybody is getting something at the end of the month. They are making money just because capital was availed and a project was done. Number two, the youth, they are well informed because they are more tech than ourselves. Now, if I do a good project called Vipingo and I don't communicate to the world, it will just be Vipingo, known by Vipingo people, known by Kilifi people. How will I get to people in Maryland to know I'm doing Vipingo? And that's where the youth are coming in, because digital marketing is the next big thing. And even us, the amount of budget we are allocating to the youth people who we have given an opportunity to do digital marketing is huge. Again, these youth have very good education. As this capital is being availed to the projects here, we'll employ the youth, because them, they have the formal education. So it's a whole chain that, yes, we're asking the diaspora to provide capital, invest back home, but in the process, once that capital is availed, as we do those projects, the mama Boga is benefiting, the youth are benefiting. Thank you.
Perfect. Definitely something to look out for. Digital marketing, obviously, is the next big area where Radio Majuu is very much involved. And I've seen not only an opportunity, but also a way to giving back to the community in terms of spreading the word, in terms of participating, and in terms of generally trying to make this a regular conversation where people can come together, support each other, and create opportunities for everybody, especially people on the ground. And like you said, we need these structures because mambo kwa ground ni tofauti. Yes. So real quick, I got one more question, and then we can close. So diasporas, what support do you wish existed for diaspora innovators and visionaries who are really want to come in? And they have good intentions. Obviously, they don't want to come and have a stalled project or a failed project. They want to succeed, so that like you say, they can help the local population in terms of employment and in terms of advancement and in terms of standard of life. What support do you wish existed, or if there is some support that exists right now, maybe talk on it. Any of you can take that, and then we can go to the closing question.
I think Martin has answered that in a very simple way, that we have to do everything through structured projects.
Structured, yeah.
In structured projects, everything is planned, everything is monetized, the numbers are clear to everybody, the risks have been addressed. So yes, you have an end-to-end view of the investment. Structured projects.
Okay. Structured in on the ground and structured also in the diaspora. I think the diaspora is who needs to actually work more in terms of getting the structures in place. And I guess the honors is with us, the media professionals, and everybody else in other industries like law, June Zelani, and other areas, engineering, real estate, infrastructure, banking, IT, technology, and the list is endless. So that one I can take it upon myself to be my next phase in trying to get these structures organized. And of course, OVC has already the template for that One Voice Consortium, which brings different organizations together. So I guess Dr. Shori had that vision, and we can support that as Radio Majuu. And I welcome everybody to participate in the webinar. The information is right there on your screen. You can log into OVC and get the information for the webinar May 31st, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and 7 p.m. East African Time. So please log in, and we can obviously get more information about this very, very important information that we want to share with our viewers and everybody else across the world. Thank you very much for coming through to our show. If it's Monday, it's Monday Majuu. I'm your presenter, George Gichobi, OG Master G. And if it's Diaspora, we go beyond diaspora and right back where we started, which is Kenya, home, East Africa, Central Africa, and the whole of Africa. So each one can take this as we close. What is the one action diaspora should take within the next 30 days or in the near future to engage with opportunity in East Africa? Say I listened to Mr. Kariuki, and I listened to Engineer Alfonso and our advocate June Zelani, and I will say, okay, I see opportunities here. Where do I go next? What do I do? In the next week, in the next 30 days, in the next 2 months, in the next year?
Can I say quickly, start gathering your coin and get involved? You were told, unfortunately, we're going to need the coin. So you've heard all the opportunities that are there, start getting your coin ready and start getting actually involved. Ask the right questions, find the right people to connect with, and the right direction for you to end up where you want to be.
Yeah. Obviously, as an individual, which is, okay, if you have that big coin, but as a group or a community, in order to pool resources so that we can also increase our ability to raise funds and also to have a bigger impact. So get together or individually.
I do want to say just something real quick. I do wonder how it would work, for instance, if me and 20 other like-minded individuals got together and we decided to, you know what, Alphonse, let's fund one of your irrigation schemes somewhere in Kenya. How would that work? I want to ask just as something to chew upon, because I've heard of projects like Quito and how they're into, real estate and all that. Maybe for us here, even in this forum as OVC, as individuals, maybe if we got together and said, you know what, let's get one of the dams established and the whole shebang just done. How would that look like?
We have announced that from the FSC perspective through the proposed Diaspora-led infrastructure bond, whereby we are putting in resources for select projects in the education sector. So through that avenue, we can pull in resources through the Diaspora.
Perfect. What would you like to add on that, Mr. Kariuki, if I want to come and get into the action in Vipingo?
If you can allow me, I quickly answer June in the perspective of real estate.
Yes.
If diasporians were to pool their resources and come to Vipingo or Two Rivers or Uganda, and you come and ask us what is moving the needle in the market, because we have all the statistics, we have all the information, and you say, we tell you, this one, if you develop this in our master plan, this one will not go wrong. You can come, we hold your hands. If you want to do a block of apartments that you think are very good for the diasporians when they come back home, we will assist you. If you want our help in selling, everyone is selling now because you see, when a salesman just need a commission, so they'll go selling, and you in diaspora, you also sell to your colleagues. You can make money. Alternatively, you can buy and you can come and say, just give us a block of ready apartments. Here is a deposit. We'll pay you the balance when you finish. We'll be happy to be able to do that, just exclusively for you. Then you come and say, now we are busy, we are in diaspora, we want passive income. We'll give you a property management contract, still as us, as the entity, Vipingo, and we'll agree on a fee of managing. So when you structure yourself, you can come and take on bigger projects, and you can be getting a return out of that. On the closing remarks on what people in diaspora can do in the next 30 days or number of days, I still believe that we are all mortal beings, and when you are in diaspora, there is a way you need to connect back emotionally to your motherland. And I believe investing in a home or investing in land, that gives you that emotional connection. Because when you say, I live very well in the UK, in the US, but when you come back home, there is nothing to be associated with you apart from the ancestral land, which is now for the people you left behind here. That emotional connection is lost. You just need to start, and don't go for the most expensive property in the market. Start with what you feel you can afford, and then scale it. You'll scale it up to a point where you cannot scale further, and that's where the aspect of generational wealth comes in, because you hand it over to the people that you love, that's your children. They will continue with the legacy. What you have planted It's like what Abraham in the Bible planted for Isaac and Jacob and the rest who followed. So it has no expiry. It can only be maintained well. And even the people who come 10th, 15th generations, they'll still find this property. So just tune in for our webinar on 31st. I will have the opportunity to unpack opportunities available in Uganda, in Vipingo, in Nairobi. I'll answer any question you have. If you want to carry the conversation privately, we share our contact. Then you can talk to me privately or my team. Then we see how we can assist you. And if even forming those structures in Kenya, and you need very good recommendations of advocates in Kenya who can do it, we'll assist you with that. Even foreigners, the only challenge foreigners get when they want to invest in Kenya, or Kenyans who don't have a national ID, maybe they are Kenyans who are British. We assist you get the Kenya Revenue Authority, the tax certificate, the KRA PIN. We go the extra mile of getting the KRA PIN for you. And once you are set with that, together with the passport of your country, you can invest comfortably in this country. So that's the extent we go to make sure that everyone can have an opportunity to invest back in Kenya. And if I can say in Uganda, because we are also there. Next time I'll mention the other country that will be there then when George give us another opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen, for coming to Radio Majuu. It has been a very, very enlightening discussion with my panel, Alphonse Mbaru, engineer in the coastal region of Mombasa, and of not Mombasa, Malindi, and of obviously Martin Kariuki with Vipingo Development PLC, and our own June Zilani, OVC advocate and community planner. Thank you so much for coming. One takeaway that we've been able to glean from this session is obviously structures that are already established, and they are offering three things that I've been able to discern. All the information that you need. Obviously, you need information in order to make an informed decision. Transparency. Obviously, we need to know that whatever we're getting into is not something that's going to come back to bite you. So all the information should be there, and it should be transparent, like from A to B, this is what I'm getting in return, this is what I'm putting in, and this is the time period that I anticipate to, break even or whatever the case might be. And also viability. All these projects, I know with real estate, it's always going up. Maybe, I don't know if the bubble will ever burst with the speculators in Kenya, because they always tell you, buy now, kesho utapata kitu. So viability is also very important to know, that if you're participating as a group or as an individual to put in your money, it'll be coming back to you, in terms of profit, to build a generational wealth, as Mr. Kariuki has indicated. And obviously join us for the webinar, 31st of May, 12 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. East African time, so that we can share more information. I will be posting the link here, and I will be posting also the contacts for Vipingo and also for the Food Security Consortium, if you want to get in touch with them, and also for OVC, represented by June Zilani, on behalf of Dr. Robert Shuri. If you want to get in touch with us. And of course, as Radio Majuu, I think we have our job cut out for us in terms of spreading the word, sharing the information, and also trying to consolidate organizations and people here in the diaspora and around the world in terms of what opportunities exist and that we can tap into in East Africa, Central Africa, and beyond. There's a lot of things going on, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be having a lot more programs. Maybe call it the One Voice Hour, where we can feature different professionals in different fields and also find out how they can contribute in terms of networking with Diaspora and the people on the ground, and how we can make this an ongoing conversation, and we can build on it moving forward. So this is something we'll be doing maybe weekly or bi-weekly, or 3 or 4 times a week. There's no limit. The internet is there, so we can always get this information out. Asante sana June Zilani for coming through, Mr. Kariuki and Alphonse Dzombo. Hope to see you soon. Obviously, we'll see you on the 31st, and if it's Monday Majuu, and I've been your host, George Gichobi, and I'm very, very happy to have had the chance to talk with you. Asante sana. All right, thank you. You have something, June? No. All right, gentlemen. We will touch base on the WhatsApp and do a little follow-up.
All right.
Yeah.
And keep it live. Keep it live,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is live. This is live.
Manage the disconnect between the diaspora and ground. Watch Radio Majuu ikuje ground.
Kwa ground pia tutakuja.
Yeah, share the information.
Mombasa ni nyumbani, so I'll be
share the information to support Martin Hapa. He's got a huge assignment on his desk.
Yes. In terms of, I was trying to see if, in terms of communication and digital communications, because that's my field, how we can actually help, and I've actually seen how we can actually help. So
I have a small proposal, George. If you can sponsor a documentary for Vipingo, they come down here and really get the information, package it, and give it to you. Then you communicate to the world.